How were your impressions this morning of his horse?
I thought it was a good gallop. He looked around quite a bit the first time around like he usually does. He's a very inquisitive horse, but then he took a hold of the bit and was pulling pretty good the next time around, which that's his style of the way he gallops every day.
I think you had mentioned before that he likes a bouncier type track. How does he look like he's getting over this compared to how he got over Churchill, which you said may not have been to his liking?
Well, he looked like he handled it really well. You know, it's got a nice cushion on this track. And reminds me of the days when I rode back here and back east, you know, that I always liked that kind of dirt like they have back. You know, it's different than them synthetic tracks, which he's run on 4 different tracks already, so I don't think you have to take the racetrack with him when he performs.
With the draw this afternoon, where would you ideally like to be?
5's been my lucky number right now, so I'm hanging in there. Santa Anita Derby and Kentucky Derby. If I get the 5, I'll be delighted.
This has gone along with hardly a bump in the road. Can you go back to when you replaced the jockey? You have your exercise rider, and now you have to replace his brother. Was that difficult? Has that been one of the more difficult things along the way?
I would have to think so. You know, I was there myself. You know, I rode for 23 years, and you get bumped off of horses. You know, it's just bad racing luck, and I don't know. You know, it makes. Sometimes you ride a race that you get a little panicky in. You know, it's one of the races he rode that he got off bad and rushed up there, got shut off again, and it looked to me like he was much the best in a couple of the races, which he should have won, I think. But the people wanted to make a change, and I got the best rider, I thought, for the horse. You know, I know Victor rode a lot of winners for me when I was training up in Northern California, and we had a good rapport together.
Surprised by the field size? Not more challenges coming your way when you're 19 in the 19 horses in the Derby, only 10 here, 9 challenges.
Well, it's always easier when you got less horses. It's less traffic, you know. But with his style, you know, if he comes away from the gate in good shape, and there's 3 speed horses in here, you know, he likes a target to run at. So I really think that with good racing luck, he should be in a position where he'll be in the clear, I think.
You the one to beat?
Well, I wouldn't want to be in anybody else's shoes right now, I'll tell you that.
To talk about physically how he looks now compared to how he looked going into the Derby?
Well, I look at him now. You know, it always bothers me coming back in 2 weeks, like I think most trainers, you know. It takes a horse a good 10 days to really bounce out of a race good. But, you know, he's holding his weight. That's a big factor. You know, he's eating good. He finished every oat last night. And he seems to be thriving in this type of training, so I'm sure not changing anything. Let's go for it.
Have you any gate or paddock schooling over the next couple of days?
Tomorrow.
Oh,
He's going to be in the gate and paddock.
Talk a little bit about being a Kentucky Derby winning trainer after all your career. You talk about how that feels.
Wow. I knew I finally made it when I went into Los Alamitos and I looked up at the billboard and it says, California Chrome, home of the Kentucky Derby winner. So I said, wow, that's my horse, you know. It meant a lot to me.
You spend a lot of time looking at the Kentucky Derby and the Triple Crown races from the outside, looking in. What's it like from being in the inside, looking at all this?
Yeah, well, it's something that I didn't realize would happen to me at this stage of my life. You know, I just, you know, you go along and I had a good career, you know, and never come up with a real top horses. I won a lot of grade 1s, grade 2s, but to have a Kentucky Derby winner is just made me just like, hey, listen, when they write that name on California Chrome when I was walking through the paddock and his colors up there, I says, wow, there's a lot of great horses were among them, you know. So it meant really something to me.
You talk about a little bit about training a horse for the 3 races within 5 weeks and all. Talk a little bit about that challenge.
Well, the challenge is there, you know what I mean. I'm not for one to run back in 2 weeks like I told you. I know it's a tradition, but it's hard on the horses to me, you know what I mean. I can see where they have a lot of fresh shooters. They miss the Derby and then they come for you at the Preakness. It's going to be even worse when I get to the 1.5 mile race at the Belmont. They're going to have a lot of horses in the wings waiting for me there, you know. So I got to keep my horse happy and fresh and hope he's in top shape, you know. So I don't have to do much with him, you know what I mean. He's one of them horses that almost trains himself, to tell you the truth. You know, he does what he has to do, and you can see in the afternoon what he does, so I don't have to prove anything. He's on a 5-race winning streak. It's always pressure, you know. But sometimes I look back and see the races, and it kind of like even blows my mind the way he just moves away from the field, you know what I mean. And some good horses, you know, and I just keep my fingers crossed that he has a good trip.
Talking about outside looking in, have there been any horses in recent years where you were watching the Derby and Preakness, the Triple Crown races, and thought, wow, he has a good shot to win the Triple Crown? Was there anybody that you really felt that about in like the past 10, 15 years?
Well, you know, I was always rooting, you know, for Doug O'Neill's horse the other day, and when he ran, what was it, 2 years ago, I guess now? It's been, geez, the years fly by. And I said to myself, I said, wow, you know, he's run 2 dynamite races, and then here comes the Belmont, and he bows, you know what I mean? And I just says, wow, you know, what a disaster that is, you know. So I just, you know, if it's fate for me to win these type of races, believe me, I'm all for it.